portion of the taxes and a portion of insurance. So they should really be paying that. But again, that has to do with how badly the buyer wants the house and what the seller's looking for. And you might have to offer to not get paid the per diem. I mean, every deal is different, basically. And then the last thing is insurance. So we like to have insurance in the house. A lot of attorneys, even attorneys, will insist that they want a they want an insurance policy on the house. You can't get an insurance policy on the house. Okay. The house has been sold to the new buyer. The new buyer owns the house. The seller can't insure that house. The same as I can't insure Jody's house. I'm sure Jody would like me to insure her house, but the insurance companies won't do it. You have to have what's called an insurable interest, which means ownership in the house. So what I usually ask for is some form of liability insurance, at least. So pretty much like a renter's policy. So I'm doing one right now where the people were actually they're coming in a few minutes to sign their documents, and then they're going to be closing. When we're closing that one, we're closing that one I think on Friday, and then they're moving out May 7th, and they got a renter's policy basically for 2 weeks. I don't have insurance to tell you how to do that, but I think that's fair, right? What if somebody slips and falls in the house? Movers, guests, friends, anybody could, right? So these are things we have to think about. Now, I used to tell agents, just put in the contract the bare minimum. Just put in there seller to remain in the property until May 7th, attorneys to work out the details. And I thought that was great. Why should you guys have to do it? Let us do it. It's fine. Well, what happens is sometimes people put in a little bit. Okay. So I had one deal where they put in that they were going to pay the per diem. So the buyers, let's say the buyers were paying $100 a day for the principal and interest, the taxes and insurance. So the seller agreed they'd pay the $100 a day, and they agreed that they would have a per diem after so let's say they're going to get out May 7th. We also like to put in a clause that says if they don't move out in time, they're going to pay more than that. They're going to pay $300 a day or $200 a day, just incentive to get out on time, right? And in this particular case, I went to the attorney and then it said other details to be determined by the attorneys. And I went to the other attorney and I said, okay, well, I also wanted an escrow. And he said, no, there's no escrow listed in the contract, so we're not doing it. And I fought and fought and fought, and I couldn't get him to budge from that. So I think that you could write. So I one that I just did the other day where an agent wrote it up. It was kind of weak on the details, and I said, this could be a problem. And she said, no, everybody's good with this, and the other attorney's going to be fine with it. Don't worry about it. You guys can work it out after. I said, great, I'm happy to do so. Well, the attorney called me up and he said, no, I'm not agreeing to this. Forget it. I want details. And it's taken us, he just got me the last revision last night. It's taken us over a week to negotiate the rental details. So that's fine. I don't mind doing it. And I'm sure most attorneys don't mind doing it. Some attorneys charge for it. I don't usually, but I probably should. But if you're going to put any details in, you have to put all the details in. I was thinking about it this morning and thinking, well, maybe you could put in the contract that subject to terms to be determined by the attorneys, and then just list per diem, escrow, insurance. Even if you don't have the details in there, at least you're listing that. But if you guys know the details, and oftentimes you do, oftentimes it's part of the offer or part of the back and forth, then put it in the contract. It's fine. And then we'll just iron out the
So
legal.
say subject to per diem, so that is the mortgage taxes, interest, insurance.
Correct.
So and the escrow and the insurance,
Correct.
and to be reviewed by attorney
Correct.
and give them 2 days to review it. Is
Well,
that
for this,
how
I
you would do
usually
it?
go longer for this situation. I guess it depends on what everybody wants. I mean, because there can
Okay.
be significant back and forth on it, so it could be a week on
Okay.
it.
All right.
Hopefully not, right? I mean, hopefully not. And the more details you guys can work out, the less the attorneys have to charge in there and be, idiots about it. So, oops, sorry. So if you guys can work it out, great. Work it out and just tell us what it's going to
But
be.
if we represent the buyer, we want to get it signed quick. If we represent the
Yeah.
seller, then we don't really care. We
Correct.
want to make sure it's right.
But
Yeah.
unfortunately,
So
the whole
that's the
thing
whole
comes
thing.
down.
Depends on who you represent.
Right. That's exactly correct. But just remember that it's not as simple as, oh yeah, I'll get you a holdover, right? Because we've got to work out these details and there are concerns. I mean, I think legitimate concerns.
Excellent. Anybody have questions for Larry? So you're okay with doing more than one kind of financing?
Yeah, and if
Um,
I'm on the buyer side, sure.
He doesn't, he says he wouldn't sign it, but
I
yeah.
wouldn't. No way.
Well, I'm just thinking, a lot of buyers. So when I was at convention, talking to different agents in Connecticut in this area, some of the things they're doing, I'm like, wow, you know, I don't want my new agents to lose out because I am too strict.
Hmm.
So is there anything to win that buyer, if you represent the buyer, to win that contract that we can do that we're not doing, that you see and you would say, well, it might be a little bit on the gray area, but legally you're probably okay.
I don't like misrepresenting in the type of financing that it is.
That
And
is what
I
they do.
I
I
see that
get
a
that.
lot. And you know what? Here's the funny thing, attorneys actually aren't that stupid, okay? We figure it out. I mean, as soon as at some point, we always figure it out. And
Well, it would be
technically,
in the pre-approval letter, right?
right. But I've
Well, I'll
seen,
tell you one thing. The MLS contracts, the standard form, the Fairfield County contracts, they
okay,
don't tell you what kind of financing. It's not
right.
in there. So if you want to do that, use that contract.
Are you talking about the smart MLS?
Well, I'm
Oh,
talking about the standard form Fairfield County uses, and I believe it's an MLS contract,
what's
but
the smart? Well,
there's a
I
couple
could
of
go
them.
into details on why I don't like the smart MLS contract, but we won't do that right
I
now.
know.
That's an
But
hour
the
long.
the good news is if you don't want to say what the financing is, that one doesn't, so you're not lying.
Right, right. And the other thing is, you
Ethical
could
doesn't
start.
matter. It's
I
legal.
mean, Cliff knows. I mean, I mean, how often do you change the
I'm
I,
financing?
requesting you don't accept one of
It
those.
it, it happens, right? I mean, it
yeah.
happens. I'm not going to say all the time, but
So
somewhat frequently. All of a sudden, somebody
I've
it's a it wasn't Chaffa, and then all of a sudden something changes in their
yeah,
employment or whatever, and Cliff says, you know what, Chaffa would be much better. Well, you can do an
right.
addendum and say we're switching to Chaffa. That I think that's fair. I don't see
An
anything wrong
So
with that.
addendum is fair.
I
Yeah.
will say it doesn't mean that ethical doesn't matter. Ethical matters, but there's a lot of people think moral is ethical and it's not. Legal is, you know what I mean? So that is like in real estate, we deal with a lot of gray areas and we learn how to not get sued like that. And that is the, like,
Well, we
those are the
try.
best agents that know how to go up to the line, but not over it.
Right, right. Right. My best advice always for buyers is talking to somebody like Cliff, who's really creative and comes up
Yeah,
with I've seen him write contract or put in contingency clauses that are creative and get the job done. And that's really what you have to do, I think. It's not as easy as it used to be to just have a, um, a pre-approval from a bank or something like that. I mean, you really need someone who's going to be able to do something that's creative for certain buyers and make the deal happen. And like I said, Cliff's one person that I've seen do it. So it's a great resource
right.
that I found.
Okay. Is there anything we should definitely stay away from besides financing?
Putting in multiple offers on from the same
Oh,
buyer.
that happens all the time too. So let's say that.
I, I mean, I guess it's okay if you're only putting down a $500 deposit, but if you're putting down real money, I mean, I've seen a few. Oh, we've got three contracts out there. Well, how are you gonna? What happens if all three get accepted, right? And what if what do you do with the deposits? What do you do with I mean, what specific performance? What if you get sued? Which you could do,
Right,
right? The buyer puts in offers on multiple properties, and then the seller, one of the sellers sniffs that out, realizes that's what's happening. They could sue them and try and make them buy that house. And then they're going to be embroiled in a lawsuit for a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and attorney's fees, damages, whatever else. So,
yeah.
I always thought that was fraud. That's what I was taught 100 years ago, that it was fraud.
I'm sure you could bring a fraud count for that. Yeah.
Well, that's scary. We don't want to be.
No.
So how would that work?
How would what work?
Somebody accusing you of fraud.
Well, it would be part of the lawsuit for, they would sue you for specific performance, and then within that, they would bring a count for fraud, which carries with
Can
it
they sue the buyer for specific
Yeah,
performance? I thought that.
absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah. So specifically perform on the contract, yeah.
oh, that's
And then
good.
what about
Because
the
of the
agent?
fraud, I should say, as Linda pointed out, because of the fraud, they could sue them for that. And then the fraud also carries with it a multiplication of damages. Now, what are the damages? I don't know. Like, what are the damages of this guy's not buying your house? I'm not sure what that actually would be. Assuming a market that's even relatively stable, I'm not sure exactly what your damages would be, but you could bring it and you might win. And
Excuse me, Larry.
Yeah.
In this situation, what if like the buyer after I submit an offer and get accepted, the buyer now before the inspection just changes his mind, he or she. It is the same scenario, so there's
So
no.
that the contract does not allow for a buyer to change their mind. That's not what it says, right? The contract allows for certain contingencies, like getting the mortgage, like having a successful inspection. That's it. So if you change your mind, you really have to go through with the inspection and then try and get out that way. Gone are the days that, I think it was before Cliff was probably still in elementary school when we used to do this, but it was commonplace to call up the loan officer and say, "Hey, write me a denial letter." That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Cliff actually has to have a reason to deny the loan, like a good, valid reason, right?
I get the requests for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But you can't do that. You used to be able to do that 25 years ago. You can't do it today. You actually have to have a valid reason to decline a mortgage. So the only other thing would be the inspection. And it depends on the house, obviously, whether you could do that. But I've bailed some people out, cold feet. Sometimes, in today's market, my personal opinion is I would, if I was representing a seller and I saw this happening, I'd say, look, just give them back their money and sell the house tomorrow for an extra $5,000. Why
Yeah.
fight over this?
Right.
You're wasting your time. So most sellers will listen to me on that. Some don't, but most do. But
But if you're not holding the deposit yet, because it's,
right,
but if
which
you
is
are
why,
holding the
again,
deposit,
if I was a seller, I'd want that deposit right away, right?
Yeah.
So excuse me, Larry. So do you advise the second the buyer make the offer, should I collect a deposit check before even the offer is accepted to protect myself as an
Jody, I don't know
agent?
what the policy is for you guys. I don't want to
Yeah.
step on that.
Because if the buyer changed his mind and decided to walk away, there is no control. I can't do anything about it as an agent.
Well, I think before they put the offer in, you have to explain that you can't just change your mind. This is a binding contract. You cannot just change your mind without risking problems,
Yeah.
without risking the
Yeah, thank you.
deposit.
so we
or
have to be
other law.
obedient. If they want to change their mind, we can say, well, I can't guarantee they'll let you, but we can ask them. And just say,
Correct.
due to whatever circumstances, they're decided they can't buy right now.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
So saying that, Larry, do we need to have anything in writing that we talk to the client and explain all what could happen if they decide not to pursue with the contract? Like right now it's a liability on our side, right? So it's not stated anywhere in the contract that they are informed or educated. It's based kind of like that I told him, but then it doesn't hold in court.
Well, the contract does say up at the top, if I remember correctly, this is a binding legal contract. You might want to consult with an attorney, so you can rely on that. I think if you smell that something that your clients might be concerned, even just a text or an email to them saying, "Hey, just make sure you understand this is a binding contract and you can't just change your mind." We get it all the time, right? I call other attorneys up and they're like, "What, cold feet?" I'm like, "Yeah, cold feet. What do you want me to tell you?" like we get it, but then it depends on the seller. And I've had some who just said, "Sure, here, have your money, go away, we're fine." And I've had
Right.
others who say, "No, I'm not going to. I want, out of the $3,000, I want $2,000." We fight over
So I
silly.
always say when they want to put an offer on more than one house, because they want it all the time, because they're waiting till they get the 500 offers before they pick one, that ask your attorney if you can put on one more. Because
That's
I honestly, it
not a
feels
bad
like they
answer.
should be able to, but you know, I mean, especially when it starts dragging out, and
Right.
so technically they should probably withdraw their offer. Now, when you
Correct.
withdraw an offer after you made an offer, do we need something in writing? Because I haven't been doing that.
I
Saying
think the
before
minimum,
Yes,
verbal.
the
yes,
minimum.
I was always told that you needed one. Yes, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I mean,
So
I
we
like it
need to
always.
do a rescission?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Good to
It's the
know.
safest way.
Yeah. Any other questions? We could be here all day.
Yeah, we could. This would be fun.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you, everyone. Hopefully it gets warmer out there, right?
Thank you, Larry.
Take care. It's good to see you, Linda.
It's so good to see everybody. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Jody.
And
Thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank
good
you,
to see you
Jody.
all.
This was
Bye,
good.
Thank
everybody.
you.
All right,
All right,
bye. Have a good day,
people.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.